Hi there, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Gardener. I'm your host, Jennifer Ebling. It's July 12th. In China, July is the month of the lotus. Recently, I shared a video in the Facebook group for the show. It was from the Royal Botanic Garden, Edinburgh, which shows the senior horticulturalist Pat Clifford teaching their intern how to remove the older leaves of a giant water lily so that the pond didn't get overcrowded. These water lilies look to be about 6 feet in diameter. Using a pitchfork, Pat carefully folded the large lily pad first in half, then quarters, and then once again. Then he stabbed the large folded pad with a pitchfork. He hoisted it into the air, let the water drain out, and then he flopped the beast down on the edge of the pond. The camera zoomed in to reveal the most savage thorns that grow on the underside of the lily pad and all down the stem of the plant. Here's today's brevities. It's the anniversary of the day that Captain Cook arrived in England in 1771. He had led that first voyage to Australia, but neither Cook nor his botanist, Joseph Banks, realized that the quartz reef where they had planted the British flag contained gold. And Cook's ship, the Endeavour, had somehow managed to survive the trials of sailing to the Great Barrier Reef and river. But before he sailed for England, Cook worried that the Endeavour wouldn't make it around the Cape of Good Hope. In a fateful decision, he had brought the ship to Batavia, a Dutch colony, and he planned to fortify his ship there. Batavia was a dangerous place. Malaria and dysentery were rampant. As a result of his stop there, Cook lost a staggering 38 members of his crew. The botanists, Banks and Solander, managed to survive the stop, although at one point they were both gravely ill. Even as they battled back from illness, they still went out to collect specimens. So, on this day in 1771, Cook and Banks and Solander made it home to England. 365 days later, Cook would be setting sail once again, but this time Banks would not be going with. Instead, a German, Johann Reinhold Forster, and his son Georg would be the botanists for his next big adventure. Today, in 1835, Charles Darwin wrote a letter to his friend John Stevens Henslow. He wrote, "In a few days' time, the Beagle will sail for the Galapagos Islands. I look forward with joy and interest to this, both as being somewhat nearer to England and for the sake of having a good look at an active volcano." Throughout his life, Darwin exchanged letters with Henslow. Their correspondence was a powerful influence on him. And it was thanks to Henslow that Darwin had received the invitation to join Captain Fitzroy on the HMS Beagle. Henslow had written a letter recommending Darwin for the journey because of his likable personality. Once Darwin was part of Team Beagle, Henslow presented him with an account of Humboldt's travels in South America. In it, Henslow had inscribed these words, J.S. Henslow to his friend C. Darwin on his departure from England upon a voyage around the world, the 21st of September, 1831. Darwin treasured this gift above all others, and at his death, the book was safely brought to Cambridge University Library, where it remains to this day. In unearthed words, it's the birthday of Henry David Thoreau, who was born on this day in 1817. National Simplicity Day is today, and it's observed in his honor. Thoreau was an advocate for living simply, and he said these things. The question is not what you look at, but what you see. Though I do not believe that a plant will spring up where no seed has been, I have great faith in a seed. Convince me that you have a seed there, and I am prepared to expect wonders. Gardening is civil and social, but it wants the vigor and freedom of the forest and the outlaw. Today's book recommendation is Gardens Are for People by Thomas Church. Church is one of the most influential American landscape architects of the 20th century. His ideas on the modern landscape revolutionized design and changed the suburban backyard. He thought the yard should be an extension of the house, essentially creating an outdoor room. Gardens Are for People contains Church's design philosophy and a lot of practical advice. And it was Thomas Church who said, "When your garden is finished, I hope it will be more beautiful than you anticipated, require less care than you expected, and have cost only a little more than you had planned." For today's garden chore, propagate pelargoniums through cutting. If you've never taken cuttings of your pelargoniums, you'll be delighted with the results. Pelargoniums are also known as cranesbills or hardy geraniums. All you need to do is snip off short lengths of your favorite pelargonium, remove any leaves from the lower part of the stem, dip the stem into some rooting powder, and then push the stem down into your growing medium in your pot. Pelargoniums root so easily, you'll have many new plants in just a few weeks. Finally, here's something sweet to revive the little botanic spark in your heart. Over the years, people have left their hearts in San Francisco. The author Rudyard Kipling said, "San Francisco has only one drawback. 'Tis hard to leave." Paul Cantor of Jefferson Airplane said, "San Francisco is 49 square miles, surrounded by reality." Well, during this week in 1969, newspapers across the country were sharing this little snippet about San Francisco. San Francisco was originally known as Yerba Buena, Spanish for good herb. Thanks for listening to The Daily Gardener, and remember, for a happy, healthy life, garden every day. The Daily Gardener is produced weekdays in lovely Maple Grove, Minnesota. You can find complete show notes over at thedailygardener.org, and be sure to share the show with your garden friends. You can find The Daily Gardener on all your favorite social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest, and of course, Facebook. While you're over at Facebook, don't forget to join the Daily Gardener community. Just search for these 3 words, Daily Gardener Community. The group will pop right up, and then request to join. Finally, I want to thank my team at Podfly Productions, where my fabulous editor is Eric Begay. Have a great weekend in the garden, and we'll see you on Monday.